Hey everyone, how's it going? I am talking with Kyle from Vital Spirit as well as Wormwitch and Seer. Hey Kyle, do you mind just giving listeners a quick introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Kyle. I am from Vancouver, Canada. I play in Vital Spirit, Wormwitch, Seer, Eyes Without a Face, a few other projects that will have stuff coming out this year. And I run a little label called Hidden Tribe.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks again for talking with me. I know with Vital Spirit having a new album coming out in about a month or so, I was hoping we'd kind of, focus on that. Do you mind just letting people know how you got Vital Spirit started?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thanks for having me. This is a cool thing that you do here, and I'm honored to be on your show here. Vancouver locked down in March of 2020, and I was at home for about a month and a half before returning to work. So I had this idea to do a Western themed black metal band for a few years, and I've been collecting riffs recorded on my phone here and there. I think it was the second week of being locked down, I started demoing basically every day. I mean, it was every day. I was just waking up and started writing and recording like it was a job, essentially. And I basically was doing like a track a day. So I think I finished the initial demos for the EP in about 4 days. And then I moved on to another project that has been kind of sitting dormant, but we'll see a release this year. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was touring before the lockdowns happened. And then when all that got shut down, it kind of opened the path to be able to do something like this.
Okay. Yeah. I remember hearing Vital Spirit, the EP, that came out in The Faith That Looks Through Death. I want to say the fall of 2020. So that's cool that you're able to take that time during that lockdown to work on this. How did you get inspired to do a Western influenced black metal?
Well, it was kind of the convergence of a lot of things over many years. I think it was somewhere around the middle of the last decade. I became interested in ancient cultures and civilizations, which kind of resulted in like an interest in I think initially it was like the interest of the pyramid builders of the continent I lived on and the continent below the continent I lived on. I knew I wanted to explore those cultures with my music. And at the time, I envisioned doing something with my other band, Seer, which is my main focus at the time. Shortly after that, I started watching a lot of Western films, really for the first time. I hadn't really explored that previously. And like many people who watch those films, I fell in love with the scores. And I can remember searching online for metal that incorporated those influences. And I pretty much just found Volan, which you're probably familiar with, I imagine. And I really dug what they were doing, or what he was doing. But I kind of had ideas of what I could potentially do on my own that I couldn't find out there in the wild. So at the time I was thinking that it would be something to do with Seer, because that was basically the band I was doing. This is before I joined Wormwitch. And when I did join Wormwitch, we ended up traveling large portions of the U.S. By vehicle, which is, the first time I was seeing a lot of different areas. And I kind of just realized that there was a lot of untapped potential in the history of North America and in South America. So I initially started adapting the idea for Seer, but I think around the beginning of 2020, I had decided to make it a separate project. It was more strictly black metal and, less doom focused. And when COVID lockdown hits, everything was kind of in place to make it happen.
What parts of the country were you most inspired by? I'm guessing like the South, like Oklahoma, Texas, like Arizona, New Mexico. Is that kind of okay?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's all of it. I think that's kind of what I have been focusing on, especially for the full length. I mean, the full length is focused on the Southwest. So yeah, but that was my first time seeing New Mexico and Arizona. I've been to California before, in Nevada, but yeah, it had a pretty deep impact on me.
Yeah, those are really long stretches of road between like Albuquerque, Phoenix, Los Angeles. Those are just like like 8-10 hour drives. So
Yeah,
really, yeah, it's really nice. I live out here in Fort Defiance, Arizona. It's, I want to say, about right on the border of Arizona and New Mexico.
yeah,
It's awesome. It's just it's kind of like where the Navajo tribe is based out of. The capital and the government is all around here, and it's really nice. Really, the rocks and the scenery.
yeah. Which is, I mean, most of the time that's what you're seeing, because there's so much like essentially barren landscape in between the areas of whatever civilization, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then there's like communities that are all separated, I want to say, by like 50 miles apart. But yeah, it's cool. It's really nice. But sometimes it can get really like isolated and lonely. But well, I mean, I live here. It's always been nice for me.
That's the trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you mentioned like Western films and like kind of like the culture. Were you ever like, did you ever like go into like country music, like old country music, to kind of get some source of inspiration?
Yeah, totally. Like I'm a big fan of making playlists of related music to whenever I'm working on a different project. And Vital Spirit, I had a playlist with a ton of old country and Southern rock on it. Stuff like Marty Robbins, Waylon, and like CCR and Skinner and stuff like that. I did the same thing with the full length as well, which kind of like featured a little bit more wacky stuff like Lee Hazelwood, Sanford Clark, a bunch of neo folk. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a big thing out here. A lot of like the Western cultures, like probably I want to say the most prevalent here. Like people, are ranchers, and people like rodeo is really big out here. Country Western dances are really big out here. Like, yeah, I'd say like metal is, is popular with younger people, but like out here, it's all about country Western dances.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, there's lots of bands, like country Western bands out here that are just like big. Like, they host country Western dances every weekend. Not so much lately due to the pandemic, but like I think they play off of like the like old. The way I think of it, I think it's just like people, when the movie Urban Cowboy came out, everyone just wanted to sound like something off the Urban Cowboy soundtrack.
Yeah, totally. That's cool. Yeah, hopefully it comes back.
Oh yeah. There's not so much country dances on the reservation, but like right off of the reservation, there's not as much restriction there, but for sure there.
Yeah, if we ever get an opportunity on tour to check out something like that, I'd love that. Unfortunately, on tour there isn't a lot of time for much of anything other than driving and playing and sitting in green rooms.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever like want to dig into it, there's the band Aces Wild. They're like a big like Navajo country band.
Okay, cool.
And then in the Apache area, there's like Apache Spirit. There's one band that's really popular called State Line, but everyone's kind of like they got so much drama going on. Like,
oh damn,
they're a good band. Don't get me wrong, they're a good band, but they just got a lot of their extracurricular stuff is a little distracting.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of that all over the place now.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely check out Aces Wild. I like them.
I will.
And then when the EP came out, in The Fate That Looks Through Death, I was really, honestly, I think the cover really grabbed my attention just because it was a sand painting. But can you kind of go into that title of the EP and kind of what it means?
Yeah, it's taken from the poem Intimations of Immortality by William Wordsworth. And in the poem, he talks about growing older and losing a connection to nature, and how children have a sort of divine connection to nature because their souls are closer to their like pre-existence. And I kind of saw this as like a micro reflected in the macro, kind of like the personal experience in the poem being symbolic of the culture of the West, and kind of losing touch with nature and spirit.
Yeah, I mean, I looked into the lyrics more, and yeah, there's only 4 tracks, but they kind of, to me, I feel like they were almost like reflective of, or I feel like it was almost like a timeline of like cultures like happening. Like I think the first track, "Heart of the Sky," was kind of like I know there's references to like the Mayan culture.
Yeah.
And then the next track was Mexican. And then I know the Ghost Dance was kind of like more focused on Native American, but was there an interconnection between each song lyrically?
The EP is almost like an overview of the themes that I knew would influence the project, basically from the start. I didn't connect them together for their influences on one another so much. It was more that the theme of the EP was like the enduring spirit of the cultures and people, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. When compared to like the full length is a lot more focused. So I'm more focused on the Southwest, and I kind of viewed the EP as, sort of like a general overview of, different areas, different cultures over a widespread area that have been to some extent nearly erased to varying degrees. But the concept of vital spirit from the beginning was essentially just how that spirit endures.
And then like I was saying, the cover art just kind of caught my eye. Like, how did you end up choosing the sand painting as the cover?
Well, initially I was looking for an image of a woven blanket when I came across sand paintings, and I immediately fell in love with them. And I think, I was in touch with a gallery in New Mexico, and I was trying to license an artist's work, a contemporary artist. And they wanted to do it, but they said due to the pandemic, it was going to be tough to pull off. So I found one on the internet, and visually, I think is a great fit. It depicts the story of the man who tricks the buffalo people into giving him special knowledge. Are you familiar with the story?
No, sorry.
Yeah, I think.
But go for it. Yeah, I'm interested.
See if I can recall it. I think he was the son. No, he marries the daughter of the chief, I believe, and then. Yeah, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I think he essentially, the buffalo people contact him somehow, and then he ends up tricking them into giving him special knowledge, essentially. And I think that actual painting is slightly altered from the original, which I think is like a common thing to do to separate the art from something that's used as art from something that is used in ceremony. Mm-hmm. So there's like slight alterations in colors and things like that.
It's an amazing image. I was just blown away, and just I think it really grabs people's attention, especially now with like things being on our smartphones. It's just something that really kind of pulls. I think it pulled me, and really wanted to go into it, listen to the album, and dig deeper into the music.
Yeah, I really didn't want it to look like a black metal record. Like I sent the art over to Robin, who does all my art. He's the vocalist of Wormwitch, and he kind of sent me something that was like he had edited it, and it was dark, and it looked like a black metal cover. It looked cool, but I was kind of like, I almost wanted something that looked like you could. Yeah, I almost wanted something that looked like you could go into, say, like that gallery in New Mexico, go into like their gift shop, and you could pull it out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't want it to look typical.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I really, really dig it. I'm just a big fan of like art too. I mean, there's a lot of artists around here that they, there's like places in Sedona, Arizona. They have like really cool galleries. the woven rugs. They have like galleries for woven rugs, galleries for paintings.
Yeah, I think that's how I initially found it. I was looking at galleries, and like I said, there was that one in New Mexico somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but it seemed like their deal was they were in contact with these different individuals who were spread out on the reservation. I think mainly on the reservation, and and they would sell their art essentially.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's a painter. He does like acrylic painting. I tell this story all the time. I'm a big dissection fan, and the cover of Storm of the Light Spain. I asked my dad to do something like that, but in a native version of it with it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Did you do it?
Yeah, I think I have it right here. I'll show you.
Oh, wicked!
You can see it.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, you can see it. Pretty much just total carbon copy of the Storm of the Light Spain.
Yeah, when you described it, I wasn't imagining something that looked almost identical like that.
Yeah, I gave him I had the vinyl of that record, and I just showed it to him and asked him to do something similar.
Yeah. Do you play music?
No, I wish. I'm just a big collector of this stuff. See, I haven't got the.
Oh, wicked! Yeah. Thanks for picking it up.
Yeah, no problem. Oh yeah, here's another one to show you. My dad's paintings. It's like a Navajo lady with herding sheep.
Wow, yeah, that's great. I mean, see, like that's the kind of thing. Like when it comes to art for this project, I want it to look like that. I want it to look like something that's not specific to the metal world. Something that just exists out in the world that people who are just creating without any sort of like metal influence. I mean, when you make a shirt, Vital Spirit shirts, they kind of have to have a certain vibe. Yeah, you're repping right now. That's good. Sick. Yeah, like, but I feel kind of like for the art and album art, it doesn't have to be specific to metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Even the full length. I really dig that depiction of it's like a pueblo, right? Like the
in Taos, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So just to finish up on the EP, like, did you write more songs that ended up on the full length, or were those four like the main four you focused on?
We didn't write any tracks for the full length during the writing of the EP, but two of the tracks on Still as the Night were adapted from Seer demos, my other band that predated the EP altogether. So there is some stuff on the new record that's actually older than the EP. I mean, I changed them quite a bit, but so it has roots from before the EP altogether.
Okay. But yeah, thanks for sending me the full length. I've been listening to it all weekend. So it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, no problem. I should have sent it to you earlier.
No, it's it's pretty much all I've been listening to all weekend. I mean, I know you wrote like a kind of like a press release about the album and kind of like the themes covered on the album. Just kind of like based off that press release and then listening to the album and the title track or the tracks of the songs, it seems like it's more focused on like the conflicts of kind of like the American West. Is that accurate?
Yeah, totally. It's every track aside from one are about different conflicts in the Southwest during the Indian Wars. So for the most part, I tried to retell the history without a lot of commentary there. The stories are kind of presented from varying perspectives. And I tried to leave out any like moral finger wagging kind of thing. I just feel like people are preached to constantly these days, and it wasn't like my intention to do that with the lyrical content on those tracks.
Awesome. Yeah. And then kind of just in general, what would you say are like big differences between the EP and the full length?
I think it's different in the extremes. It's faster. It's slower at times. It's more aggressive. It's more contemplative at times. There's a lot more of an explicit metal influence, I think. And then we also leaned more into folk and quieter moments as well.
Yeah, I know my favorite's The Long Walk, for just because, it's about Navajo people, but I think I kind of like picked up some like post metal, like, sections of the song where kind of like songs that kind of relied on like the atmosphere and more settled down parts. Kind of like the way it starts and then kind of like towards the end, it even goes into like a kind of a doomy section, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like that one was actually one of the former Seer demos.
Oh wow!
Which is probably why it has those influences. It felt like a bit of departure for that reason, but I think ultimately I'm kind of happy to have included it to diversify the sound of the record.
Yeah,
like that riff at the end. It's almost like Pantera-esque, and it's almost has like a groove metal vibe to it. But I think it ended up fitting pretty nicely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I dig it, and I think there was one track. It was sort of like I think it's the Saturn Sky. That's kind of like more of like an instrumental, right?
Yeah. That's the first like entirely non-metal track that we've done. Yeah, it was cool. I was glad to put something like that on there. I'd like to do more of that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I know like with the lockdown, still restrictions are still kind of being lifted, but were you ever able to kind of like make it out to these areas of the Southwest, like during the time of the writing of the new album?
No, not at all. I mean, I haven't left Canada since 2019, I guess.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever do, you definitely, pretty much if you get to like Albuquerque, that whole I-40 all the way to like Flagstaff, like that whole area is just full of really cool, like interesting points of interest. And there's just a lot of cool museums and galleries along the way. I think Santa Fe, New Mexico's got a lot of galleries. It's Santa Fe and Sedona, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Sedona, Arizona are big on like art galleries and and then there's like museums, like there's the Navajo Nation Museum here, and then the museum in Phoenix, the Herd Museum there. That's huge. You probably spend all day there.
Yeah, totally. I would love that. Santa Fe is great. We played there once. I love how everything kind of has that, all the architecture kind of has that Pueblo style too, to some extent. I might like it honestly because it's such a contrast to where I live. It's like the climate is totally different. The vegetation is totally different. I don't know. I'm not a desert person. Like I didn't grow up in the desert, obviously, but I feel an affinity for the desert,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, up here it doesn't get too hot. Like, oh my gosh, Phoenix can be unbearable sometimes. The northern Arizona, northern New Mexico is generally pretty nice year round, except for the winters can get pretty cold. But hopefully you get to tour with either Vital Spirit or Worm or Seer, and definitely look at some of these places out here.
Yeah, for sure.
Were there any other like lyrical themes that you didn't get a chance to include?
I think honestly, I think we covered the Southwest pretty good. I mean, there's always, there's a ton of stories, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had to choose which ones were going to make it onto the record. But I think it's a pretty good overview of the conflict in that time. I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah. So for future releases, would you maybe like go to different parts of the country as far as the history, or would you kind of stay in this area?
No. Yeah. I think we're kind of done with the Southwest for now. I'm not 100% sure. We're working on something right now, actually. Since the vinyl got delayed for this record, we actually thought that it wasn't going to be coming out until maybe like late summer. So we started working on something else that we actually thought was going to come out before the record. And it's the place, or the environment that EP is based in is very far from the Southwest, further north, I'll just say.
Nice. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I'm not. Things kind of got jumbled around a little bit now because we decided to release the record without the vinyl ready. So I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. Maybe a summer release for the EP.
Okay. Do you have a timeline of, you said the late summer, maybe for the vinyl, or do you know exactly?
I mean, it's hard to know. I think we submitted everything to the plant in October, I think, and at that point, I think they were saying 9 months. Just like a baby. But I think more recently I've heard like a year, but I don't know. We got in, like, I have test pressings that I got in December, I think, of the album. So I don't know. I can't imagine that it could be that far away. So hopefully summer. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I mean, I heard the whole album so far, but I'm really interested in looking at the layout and the lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, we have included the lyrics in every version of the record. So even the cassette has a full, it's like a 7-panel J card with all the lyrics in it. The CDs, I should be getting the CDs next week, actually. And yeah, they all have the lyrics in them because the lyrics are just a really important part of this release.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really pumped for it. And May 6th, I believe, right, is the release date officially. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad you're able to tell me more about Vital Spirit. Those are kind of close to my end of my questions, but just as far as closing remarks, any like people you want to recognize, or any like specific like thank yous out there?
Yeah, I mean, like my label, we just put out like we put up 3 pre-orders essentially. We put up one for Vital Spirit, one for my other band Seer, Volume 7, which is a compilation of everything we've done since our last album, and then one for Thieves, which is Colby, who plays guitar in Wormwitch and also mixed Still as the Night. It's his solo project. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Pick that up if you like what you hear from us. If you like, Wormwitch, Vital Spirit, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just surrounded by a bunch of people doing cool stuff. Peter from Seer plays in a band called Empress, which is great. So yeah, I mean, those are my friends and what they do. Yeah. Recently I was contacted by Black Braid. Have you heard Black Braid?
Yeah. Sick. They're like indigenous black metal and the like New York.
From New York, I think. Yeah. And I don't know I'm blanking on what the guy's name is. But his stuff is really cool. He reached out and said he was a big fan of what we were doing. So yeah, shout him out because his stuff is really cool. And I think he has a record coming out really soon. And yeah, I don't know, Colby, like I said, he was a big part of this record. He produced it, or he didn't produce it. He mixed it. Tim Creviston, my good friend, produced it. And then Christopher Brown, not the rapper, but the cello player. He did all the cello stuff on Still as the Night, which really elevated it. I think having real cellos on there is a big part of the record.
Nice. I'm a Wormwitch fan too, but is there any like touring plans for Wormwitch?
It's hard to know at this point. We booked our first show in 2.5 years. We're doing here in Vancouver. And then I think we're talking about maybe doing something in the fall. I don't think that it will be in the States. I think it might just be a Canada thing, but who knows? We'll see. Depends on the border. Depends on all that stuff. Like, really the only problem at this point, as far as I can tell, is just getting across the border. Mm-hmm. It seems like shows would be totally fine. And yeah, I mean, like trying to do this like a year ago, it was like half capacity and all that stuff, but I don't think that's the case anymore. So I don't know. We're going to try to get to it as soon as possible.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen Wormwitch a few times. The last time I saw was the Uwata. It was Wormwitch in Uwata right before the pandemic. So I was.
Where was that at?
It was Mesa, Arizona, or Phoenix, Mesa.
Oh yeah. That was a great show.
Yeah, there's like two shows going on at once. Like they were separated. The two rooms were basically had two shows going on at once.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Oh goddamn, it was so hot though.
Yeah. It was like I want to say like around this time in April or May, but yeah, it's brutal. Like I think they hit like 100 degrees around this time of year.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
fun show though, and that was a great tour.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks again for letting me talk with you. I'm just a big fan, Wormwitch fan, Vital Spirit fan, Seer. I'm definitely going to get into more Seer now. And also the other projects associated with the Hidden Tribe label.
Hey, yeah, thanks. Really appreciate it. You've been a big supporter since the beginning. So yeah, always appreciate it. And I think what you're doing here is a real cool thing. Is this the first episode after Max?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That'll be a hard act to follow, but yeah. Thanks.
Oh man. I've been hitting pretty much all of Max's like contacts for like 2 years now. Like
just trying to get them on.
Pretty much all the social media pages. There's like a email on his Cavalera website. And then just kept doing it like. And then I guess I finally got a response from his manager wife. And at first they played a show like just 30 miles from here. And I was going to see if they can talk in person, but they said they're not allowing any meet and greets or anyone for this tour. So I was like, that's cool. And then they said that, oh yeah, maybe when we get home. And then I was like, oh really? Cool. And then I just kept emailing them like every other day. And then they gave me a time, gave me a day, and I was like, all right, cool. And then, I was like super nervous. I was like, holy shit, this is cool. Like,
yeah, well, that's persistence, man. Good thing you stuck with it.
Yeah, I know. I did. I just mainly been talking to like people around here, the bands around here. Like, there's a really thriving scene around here. It's just, I think it's just like it's not covered well. And I guess Revolver, did that YouTube video. The only thing was they didn't really play any of the band's music, which kind of was a bummer, but
I noticed that.
But it's still thriving. There's like just like the town Gallup, New Mexico, there's so many like sick bands from there like that don't get a lot of like coverage from like the bigger outlets, I guess, the journalist sites.
Yeah, well, you're doing the work.
Yeah, I'm hoping to talk to more. Thanks again, Kyle. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That was my talk with Kyle Tavares of Vital Spirit. Hope everyone gets a chance to pick up the new album, Still as the Night, Cold as the Wind, which will be coming out on May 6th, so a little over a month from now. You can pick up the album on the Hidden Tribe website, hiddentribe.ca, or on the Vital Spirit Bandcamp page. I got a chance to listen to it already, and take it from me, it's one of the best albums I've heard so far this year. It's a fast, aggressive black metal record with the Western movie soundtrack influence, throughout the album. But there's also other types of influences and inspirations, used. There's sections of psychedelic rock. For example, the song "The Long Walk," it's starts out really slow, like it has that psychedelic sound, and then becomes kind of like a mid-paced black metal song, and then towards the middle you transition into like some like post metal with some kind of like doom sludge and almost like groove metal riffs that Kyle mentioned. And the one of the songs is an instrumental, Saturn Sky, but all the other songs are just really fast, aggressive black metal. The closing song is similar to The Long Walk, where It starts slow and then kind of uses all the elements of Vital Spirits, black metal aesthetics to kind of build upon, each section. And then towards the end, we kind of pull back and then we're left with only like acoustic guitar and the cello to kind of close this chapter of Vital Spirits musical journey. So yeah, I hope everyone can take my word for it and just pick it up. Either the physical copy, digital download, or streaming. However, just make sure you check it out. I'm gonna go ahead and play a song, "The Dawn of Liberty." It's track 3, and this is the song that it kind of depicts the Taos Pueblo rebellion from the 1800s. So yeah, another reason to pick up the album would be to dive deeper into the lyrical content and kind of look further into the artwork and imagery. So yeah, I'll leave it at that, and it'll be the end of the podcast. So thanks for listening. Take care.